Hi guys, it's Cindy with Pups and Crochet. And yes, I have been watching spook movies. Spooky horror movies and creepy movies and funny creepy movies and, it's the way it is. But I found this one that I remember from a long time ago that I saw. And it's called Alligator. But it wasn't just one. It's Alligator 1 and 2. So I did one square for them. So here's my square. And here's my little alligator. These little teeth. Look at them. Yeah. He's my alligator. That's my killer alligator. Okay, so I will tell you about the movie. First, what I'm thinking about it. I was talking to Neva about some things, and then she had brought up doing a swap, and I'm like, okay. And I haven't done a swap, so I didn't know what it was exactly, but she told me. So I'm like, okay. And then I said, man, that made me just get a memory in my head of my school. Because, like, when I was in grammar school, we left Wilson, and then we had to go over to Cicero school. So, because they only did certain grades. So when we were in Cicero school, Cicero school it was. And our one class had us bring in stuff to barter. And she said, I want you to learn how you can do things bartering, which means that from like olden times when people didn't have any money, they would do a trade. They would barter. Okay, you need chickens and I need hay. So they would barter and switch and swap. So I had this little basket it was a little square basket like this with a square handle, and it had two little doors that buttoned up, and then I opened up, and I had all my stuff in there. And I had cars, I had little dolls, I had all kinds of these light up yo-yos and all kinds of stuff in there. So I put them on my desk. You know, those kind you had to pop up with the little stick, and then you put it in there to make it flat. So I put all my stuff out. Everybody put all their stuff out. And then we got to walk around. Nobody could touch anybody's stuff. We just got to look. So we're looking, and then she said, okay, you guys will have a half hour to barter with as many people as you want. If they see something on your table they want, you barter something with what they want or what you want off their table. And it was so much fun. She goes, this way I'm teaching you how you can still get something done if you have no money. And she said, in this way, some people like that better. Like, if you have somebody that can do woodwork and wants to come do something in your house that needs to be fixed, you can do that and make them a homemade dinner that they haven't had. Or, whatever. And she was right. And I had taught my kids that when they got old enough, about things like that and how to trade and stuff. So Corey used to do Pokemon cards, and I'll give you this one for your Charizard. And Charizard was my favorite, so he's the one I remember. But, they had all those little characters and cards and everything, and had them in little folders with the clear paper so they didn't get ruined, and God forbid they got ruined. And so I was like, yeah. And I did a three-way barter because I wanted something on this other girl. The other girl wanted something on his, and he wanted something on mine. So I told him, I said, okay, I'll give you this car if you give her that little pen, and then I want that little doll from her. So we did a three-way barter. Worked out fine. I had a good time. It was fun. Always make sure you teach your kids. It's very good. Okay, so we're on Alligator. Okay, it starts out, they're traveling, and they end up in Missouri. They stop and see this little crocodile and alligator farm. And then the little girl bought a baby alligator, that big, baby alligator. And of course, where do they go? Chicago. And so the dad gets mad one day, because I don't know if he put his hand in there and it bit him. Something happened. And, like, he put his hand in there. I don't know if it bit him or did something to him, but whatever it was. He grabbed it by the tail and he said, I've had it with this. The mom screaming, no, no, she'll be so crushed when she gets home from school and she's not here. He's not here. So he flushes it. And where does it go? Into the Chicago sewers. And down in the sewers, he runs into toxic waste that they have dumped down there. And so I'm like thinking how crazy that was, because like when the kids were little, they had a flood through Chicago. And all those older buildings have like sub-basements to sub-basements to sub-basements to sub-basements. And it's where trains used to run through, and it's where they used to do all the stock down there. So each one had like multiple sub-basements. They all got flooded all the way up to like the main floor. So they lost everything that was in those sub-basements. And so I started thinking, they used to always tell us when we were little that there were alligators in the sewers and not to ever go down there. So I didn't think it was true. And then this movie came out, and the alligator was in Chicago. But he gets into this toxic waste dump that this company dumped down in there, which I'm sure some people have done. And they, you know, it just gets huge. And it's, oh no, wait. It ran into the toxic waste, which made it strong. But the reason it got huge is because this testing group for medicine was testing on animals, and then they would throw the animals into the sewer. And it was like with a growth hormone, it was like with steroids and all this stuff. And it really pissed me off, actually, because that's the part I hated. But at least they didn't show all that, so I'm like, okay. And the alligator eats them, and now the alligator has got the hormones and it's got the steroids, and he has grown to like 30 feet long. He's huge, and like he's like the size of like bigger than a Volkswagen Beetle. Okay, this big, that long. I mean, he's huge. I mean, you could, I guess, the length of a Cadillac and the height of a Beetle. So, anyway, now they know people are missing. Sanitary workers are missing. All the people from, like, the village is missing that have all gone down into the sewers. And they don't know where they were or where they're going or anything. So they don't know. So they go down there and they're checking it out and everything. And they hear it. And it's splash, 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 splash. And then they go, here comes the alligator. Right? And he eats most of them. So they're trying to get this alligator so they can get him up and blow him up. Because they can't shoot him. The poison's not working on him. Because he's like super freaky now. So the main guy, who's a cop, meets up with a girl who is a scientist. Not at that bad place. But it turns out she's the one that had the baby alligator. She said, I used to have a baby alligator named Ramon. But he died. No, he didn't die. Your dad flushed him. And now he's the giant one. And so, anyway, so they work together and they're trying to get him to come out and everything. And he's showing up in pools. He's crawling all over the place. He's all over Chicago. He's eating people everywhere. And I'm like, this is crazy. And then part 2 was basically the same thing. Little different things going on in it, but basically the same thing. The huge alligator coming out of the sewers. So they finally get the one. They get him out. And they puncture him under the stomach because that was the soft tissue. So they got him in there and they shot him up with this medicine, and then that didn't work. He was still fighting that, so that didn't work. So then they're having like the two kind of like blended together. So I might be telling you part of part 2, but they were having these guys that were trying to, oh yeah, that was part 2. They were trying to buy out this part of the city. And the people didn't want to sell, but they were forcing them to sell. They were beating up their husbands or going to take their kids if they did not sign the papers and sell, because he wanted to make a mini mall. And so basically, all the bad guys got eaten. The good ones lived. And then, you know, a couple didn't. They didn't make it. But that's how the cookie crumbles. You want to hunt alligators. Oh, but the one thing is, okay, that was funny. And I believe it was in part 1. I think it was in part 1. After I watched them both, I can't even remember which is which because they just kind of blended. So anyway, they hire this guy to come get the alligator. The guy with that's trying to buy out all the homes right there. And that might be part 2. But anyway, so they hire him, and he comes from Louisiana. And he's supposed to be the #1 alligator trapper in all the world. And they said, this is not a regular alligator. This thing is huge. So he's talking with a Cajun accent. And I just was sitting there laughing so hard because this guy usually, I cannot remember his name, but he usually plays a mob boss, or he's one of the mob guys or something. He's got the Italian accent. He's going, come on, you know what I mean? I gotta go take care of this. You know, and like that. Well, now they put him in there and he's trying to do a Cajun accent. And I'm like, okay. Why? Just why? This guy's known for being a thug and a mob boss and everything else, and now you're gonna make him a Cajun alligator hunter? Okay, I don't know if you find that funny. I find that super funny, and I laughed every time he tried talking because you could tell he was trying so hard to get this accent right. And he kept saying, you know, I'm gonna get you some of that jambalaya. You like that? Come down over to our place. And I'm like, oh my goodness gracious. But it was funny. So if you get a chance, watch it. It's not super scary, but it's fun. It's a fun show. Okay, I'm gonna let you go. I will be back with my next video. And remember, adopt, don't shop. Why? Because there are too many babies that are out there that need a home. Okay, I'll be back in 2 and 2. Bye.